Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna do a quick update video. I'm gonna try to do this like minimal cuts. Hopefully you were involved in it, but we just did a raffle on Liam. We are now no longer the proud owners of Liam Nissan. Sounds sad. Actually, I'm pretty happy with the way that things turned out. So we did a raffle. All you guys that entered, thanks a ton for making it so quick. I wouldn't really say easy. Bunch of you paid wrong and had us do jumping through all sorts of hoops and returning money and things like that. It was kind of a hassle, but I think that's just the nature of waffles in general. So the guy that ended up winning the truck, I'm actually pretty happy about. He's another YouTube guy. He races trucks, obviously probably why he was interested in the channel and the truck in the first place. He's got a ridiculously fast, big old diesel truck. Light for a diesel truck, but still a diesel truck. The thing's freaking huge. It goes really, really fast on what seems like relatively marginal surfaces. Like, doesn't really matter what the hell it goes down. It does pretty good work. He gets this, and he's gonna pick it up in a couple of weeks. We'll do a video of him kind of picking it up and you know, us running him through you know, the ins and outs of Liam. But yeah, I mean, he's already kind of told us he's gonna continue to race it as it sits. I mean, I'm sure they'll improve it. Let's face it, there's a lot to improve upon. But 75's on there now, so it's going to be kind of, you know, a little bit different going back to some of the old strategies that we used to use. But I mean, he's got all of that in the calibration. It's got multiple tables, poor man's traction control setup that we did for it. And then it's got a bunch of the 3-step tables that I continue to use. You know, it's got a couple of different strategies in there. So we'll run him through it, and hopefully, you know, he continues to, you know, have as much success as we did racing it. Should be pretty cool. I'll put his channel either up at the top somewhere, and also the link in the description, so you can go check it out. All right, and the next thing that we got going on is the El Camino. So, oh, actually, I forgot about that. We got to get rid of that truck. So I'll probably just take it to scrap. I don't really want to mess with it. Unless anybody wants to come and pick it up, by all means, let me know. But now we are going full steam ahead on the El Camino. And I'm pretty happy about it. I'm excited because the whole point of this, you know, was to free up some room and free up some funds by selling the truck, to make it easy for us to finish this with the entire budget all in one sitting. So we budgeted out what we needed to finish this. We made sure that it, you know, getting rid of the truck actually covered that. And so now we can just go full steam ahead on this and get it finished as soon as possible. I'm hoping to be racing this thing by like the end of January. Seems relatively aggressive, but honestly, like, we have the major pieces already done. And so from here, I mean, I think it can go pretty quick. The only thing that might kind of hold us up is availability. So we're still gonna need plenty of fabrication from Nick on the turbo setup, which he seems pretty excited to do. But I don't know what his availability is gonna be. He's a busy man, and I don't like to cut in line too much, but you pretty much have to because his line never ends. When you are the best, you get a lot of business. So in case you guys forgot what was going on with this thing, it is still sitting in the trailer from the last video that we did with it, where we put it in there and brought it home. So nothing has really changed. I'm actually kind of happy with how much the bars and everything from the cage have been rusting, because we wanted this look, actually. Like, if you look at the top portion of the cage, if you guys don't remember or didn't see the last video, all of this stuff, so like this right here, that's not bare, that's painted. We're gonna keep that look all throughout the cage. So we'll probably sand some of these areas down a little bit so that it's not so much surface rust. Like, this is probably a little bit too much. So we're gonna sand that off and then paint over it so that we get the permanent, you know, a permanent look of, you know, kind of weathered material. And that's kind of how we want to keep it. So really, really excited about this. This obviously isn't our motor. Like you could see in previous videos, the motor setup is already complete and ready to go. We could drop it in, you know, tomorrow if we wanted to. Same thing with the transmission. Although I think we'll probably send the transmission out just to get freshened up. Although when we took it out, it was when we switched over to the Hughes converter. We thought the transmission might be slipping. We weren't sure, and we wanted to get ready for a race real quick. So we said, screw it, let's swap the transmissions while we're taking the converter out. It ended up being the converter the entire time. The transmission was fine. So it's just been sitting in the garage. We just kept using the other one because there was no point to switch back. Yeah, that's what we got going on. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this build. I know we've only been kind of just, you know, hinting at it and doing little things here and there. I mean, Nick was hammering on it, don't get me wrong. Like, we've done a lot of work on the car, but it's been other people working on it. And so now it's in our hands. We have a lot to do, and we're going to do it in a pretty at a pretty rapid pace, which is kind of the way that I like. I don't have very much patience. I don't like doing long-term slow builds. Same thing that we did with the truck. We set aside a budget. We didn't start it until we had the full budget, and that way we were just able to, you know, hammer it all out. That one still took a long time because, you know, we were only doing it on weekends and, you know, evenings. So this one should go hopefully a lot quicker, like I said, depending on the schedule of the people that are needed for it. But we're in a much better spot with this thing. This chassis is going to allow us to go as fast as we want to go. So the plan for the El Camino, as far as, you know, power and fuel system and everything, is going to be, it's going to stay in LS, obviously, since we already have that put together. It'll get the same turbo that was on Liam, the 8896 from VS Racing. I don't know if we're going to fix it or if we're just going to get another one, but we'll use that same turbo. It's going to be a dual fuel sort of setup, similar to how we were going to do it in the truck if I would have had a pump that was actually able to use methanol. The whole fuel system that we're going to do for this one is going to be methanol capable. Sorry, phone's going crazy. So the whole fuel system is going to be methanol capable, but for the majority of the time it's going to be running on either pump gas or E85. So we're going to have one tank that is going to be, I don't know, it only has to be like 5 gallons or something like that, maybe even less. Just enough to fit enough methanol for a single pass. More would be preferable. You never know when you have to let it idle for a little bit longer or do multiple burnouts, so you always want some spare fuel. So it'll have a small methanol tank, and it'll have a rather large E85 or pump gas tank. So thinking at least 15 gallons. So a 15-gallon tank that we'll use for like most of the time driving around. Pump gas, it's going to have a lot of range. 85, you know, I imagine it'll get decent gas mileage still, so it should have decent range on 85 as well. And we're going to have quick disconnects. So I thought about using the valves, but, you know, seeing people have valve failures, that's exactly what I was worried about, is using a valve and then having it fail so that it's like mixing fuel the entire time. And then you end up with just 2 fuel cells, you know, that all have an even mixture of fuel when you're anticipating pure methanol or E85 and gasoline. So I don't want to run into that. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to do quick disconnects. It's easier than what we had in the truck, where we just had regular AN lines and we had to, you know, unscrew them and swap tanks and everything. This is going to be just some quick disconnects. Hopefully we can put it in an area that makes it easy to switch back and forth, but really won't have to switch it very much. It's not going to have an intercooler, but we know, testing with Liam, how far we can go with no intercooler. And so as long as we're below like 350 degree intake air temps, I'm perfectly fine with that happening on E85. A lot less with pump gas, but as far as E85 goes, I don't see a problem with, you know, 300 degrees, 320 degrees or something like that. So it's basically going to be catered to, you know, running all out. If it's going to run all out, it's going to be on methanol. So I don't feel the need for an intercooler. Would it help a little bit? Probably. Is it necessary with methanol? Absolutely not. So really all we're going to end up doing is just having it be, you know, it'll do no more than 20 psi or something like that. Based on that turbo, how it did on Liam, about 20 psi will make around, depending on ambient temperature, you know, anywhere from 295 to 320 degrees. So, which is manageable on the 85. So most of the time, if she's driving it around just on the street or whatever, you know, pump gas or particularly 85, and she wants to romp on it, the ECU won't allow it to go over 20 psi. And then if she, drives all the way to the track on E85 or drives all the way to the track on pump gas, then when she gets there, all she's got to do is swap the lines to the tank. We'll create a means to like clear the line so that we have like 0 fuel mixing. So like disconnect one line and then like just put like a pressure hose or something, like we'll always carry around a little air tank with us, and hook that up to clear the line so that it returns everything in the line all the way back to the 85 tank. And then we'll hook up the methanol tank and then do the same thing, quick disconnects on the return lines. And then we're on the methanol fuel system. So one pump, one primary fuel system, 2 sets of injectors, but they're both going to be used all the time for either fuel. So that's kind of what we have going on in our heads. We're just going to swap the lines at the feed to the pump. So from tank to pump is going to be where that difference is. Which tank is it going to go to? So the pump's either pulling from the methanol tank or it's pulling from the 85 tank. We are probably also going to be selling this trailer. It's bigger than what we need. We thought we were going to go to the track a lot and stay overnight. We just really didn't hardly do any of that this year. And so I really don't think it's a priority anymore. And honestly, it's just really hard to get on and off our property. The road that we go on has some really tight turns, and all I'm doing is, brushing up a bunch of trees against it and, kind of ruining it. So we may end up downsizing, selling this trailer and then buying a brand new, smaller trailer. Easier for us to, travel with. And as long as it has AC in it, we can keep the dogs in there while we're racing. So I think that's probably what we're going to do. The ultimate goal eventually is to get an RV. And so again, we won't need a giant trailer to live in, because eventually we're just going to live in the RV if we need to take extended trips. So that's the goal: small enclosed trailer and RV, or even a open trailer and RV. But until we get an RV, we kind of have to have an enclosed trailer for the dogs. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed at least a quick little update. The next video that we see will probably be doing some tuning on some customer cars. The week after that, it's going to be handing Liam off to the new owner, Severed Chad. And after that, who knows? We'll be elbow deep into the El Camino. So we'll keep you updated on all that stuff. Appreciate you guys coming and watching. See you on the next one.